Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm so excited to introduce our speaker for this evening. Dr. Withy is a family medicine doctor and a professor of family medicine and community health at the University of Hawaii John A. Burns School of Medicine. She directs the Hawaii Pacific Basin Area Health Education Center, which creates health career pathway programs such as Pre-Health Career Corps and supports thousands of health career students a year. Her goal is that all people of Hawaii have access to healthcare where they need it when they need it. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our speaker this evening. I will now pass it over to her.
Aloha, everybody. Um, Let me share my screen. I'm going to send you the PowerPoint so anybody who wants it can have it. And let me go over here and share screen. Share we go. All right. So I was asked to talk a little bit about community-based healthcare, medical education, our school in Hawaii. But first, I figured I would talk about probably what you guys are most worried about, and that's how to get into med school. So there's five main things. You guys know this, but I'm going to give you my own little take on it because it's going to go to your mission in life and the community focus of your activities for now through when you retire and after probably. Okay, so you guys know these. College grades. Okay, so that's your whole college grades. They usually do your sciences versus your total. But here's the secret. If you don't like your college grades, just go to like a public health degree, or we have cell and molecular biology here if you're interested in that. Go to grad school because those are the grades they will then look at. So that's how to solve that problem, if it is a problem. MCATs. I got a couple secrets for you about MCATs. They are a test of your ability to manage time and ability to manage stress. So here's what I tell people. If there's a question you don't know, it's just crazy, it's out there, and they throw these in on purpose because they want to see if they're good questions or not. So if you have one of those, pick a letter. It doesn't have to be B. I use B, but A may be the most common. I don't know. But pick a letter and use it every single time because then you get 20% right and you don't have to worry about it. You don't waste any time on it. It's done. It's over. You don't even think about it anymore. Um, Similarly, if you get it down to two choices, just pick the top one and go on. It's kind of like for me when I go in a large bathroom, say at the airport, and all the stalls are open. I could stand there and say, which one should I use? I could go in the first stall, that's quickest, but maybe everybody does that. So maybe I go in the last stall, but that takes a while. I don't even worry about that anymore. I go in the third stall. Call me crazy, but that's how I take my standardized tests. I choose B and I go on. I don't even worry about it. If I get it down to two, I pick the top one. I got 50-50 chance, right? And I just go on. Okay, so they're my secrets about those two things. Now, the next things are how your community activities are going to get impact you. Okay, so your letters of recommendation. These should all be from people who know you really well. And you have to ask them, you have to say, do you feel you can write me a really positive letter of support or letter of recommendation? If they say, well, I'm not really very good at that, then don't even worry about it. Don't go to them. You want people who can say how great you are in your community activities, how caring, how passionate, how hardworking, how trustworthy, whatever it is you want them to convey, they will convey it. So your mission will come across a little bit in these letters of support. And I'll tell you what I do when I write letters of support. I make the person write out 10 bullet points about what makes them special. And I use that in my letter and I just frame it with my experience and I work it over a little bit and put their name first every time. So their name is forefront of the mind. But they have told me what's special about them. And I add in things too, but it's really nice for me because I don't have to, rack my brain. But it's also nice for them because it gets their message across. But these last two are where you really shine with your community efforts. So your personal statement, tell them why you're special. And that involves your mission. And I can't believe I'm talking about mission because when I was your age, when I was at your point in life, I didn't know what my mission was. Um, but I kind of did. I just didn't put it into words. And then, of course, your interview. So in your opening pitch, you're going to state your mission. You're going to tell about yourself. And then, you're going to start a conversation from there. So when I decided I wanted to go to med school, I was 12. And my parents had divorced, my dad had remarried, and I was there when my stepmother had my brother. And it was a long labor. And it was not a pleasant labor. She didn't have any pain medicines or anything. And the baby was born, and I thought he was really ugly. He looks fine now, but he was blue because he wasn't breathing. He had blood on him. He had a cone head because he'd been pushing so hard. And then he had this white, gooey stuff on him, which is normal. It's the lubricant called Vernix, but I didn't know that. I was 12. And the doctor clamps and cuts the cord and gives the baby to my stepmom. And I thought she's going to be really disappointed. And she said, "Oh, he's beautiful." I thought she was crazy. But then I realized she must really love him to say that because he looks great now, but he was not beautiful. And so, over, I don't know when it was exactly, but weeks or months, I thought, I want to go into something that has so much love in it that, a mom and their bond with their child, and I want to do that. I didn't have any doctors in the family. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go, but I just powered on through. Um, and so really my mission was to help. Well, I can't even say it now. I have a different mission now, but my mission at that point was to help deliver babies so that I can bring that love into the world or something like that. But I wasn't good at saying it. So you guys are ahead of me already, even thinking about this. Um, and then, I put a few things in this slide because these are things they have us ask about in our interviews. Now, we do traditional interviews. We don't do the mini, what are they called? I don't even know what they're called. I want to say mini mental status, but it's not that. It's the like 10-minute interview things. We do
MMI.
like, what is it?
MMI.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
multiple
Multiple something, like 10
something.
minutes.
Like multiple mini interviews.
Yeah. Yeah. So we don't do that yet. We just do 3 regular interviews, half hour to an hour. And we have a conversation. And you're doing good if you've got them asking questions, follow-up questions and stuff. So it's a conversation. But I just put these things in here because this is what they make us look for. Leadership skills, how you deal with stress, how you face challenges, how you deal with ambiguity, because there's a lot of ambiguity in medicine, right? How you work in a team. They don't actually ask us honesty, but maturity definitely, your humanitarian qualities, your interest in the school, your altruism. So those are things that we're supposed to ask about. So I just put them in there for your knowledge. Um, and then to talk about why John A. Burns School of Medicine at UH is special, we have the students go into the community day one. So there are all kinds of different activities they can do in the community. They can work with the kids who have cancer at the pediatric hospital. They can work in schools and do health education. They can actually go on our homeless van. Which all students have to work on during their time at medical school. And we'll talk about that a little more. They can do research, especially Native Hawaiian health research. There's all kinds of community activities, but it's a required part of your medical school training for the first 2 years of your medical school. And that's unusual because I didn't work with patients until 3rd year. So when you're looking at medical schools, ask them about that because that may be a big interest of yours. Okay. We are also the first problem-based learning school in the US. McMaster's started it and we adopted it in the 90s, 80s, 90s. And that's pretty cool because I went to UC San Diego, which is a great school, but they lectured us in the mornings and then we did lab in the afternoon. And then we went to each other's houses and had small group learning sessions, which is basically problem-based learning. So we did problem-based learning ourselves. Oh, there it is. Yes. Work in the community starts day one. Rural experiences. There are 7 units. Wait, yeah, 7 units in the first 2 years, and the rural experiences start the second unit. They can be, oops, it's not there. But anyway, rural is very important to us. We offer rural experiences for all our medical students, as I said, starting in first year. And then student-run activities are welcomed and encouraged. Some of those, not the rural, but the community-based activities were actually created by medical students and are maintained today. Let's see. We have the first Department of Native Hawaiian Health, and I think the only one in the whole world, but making a department of our for research and education in Indigenous health, while not unique, is Native Hawaiian is unique to us. And so that is supported by the school. And then, okay, so here's where to talk about it, rural experiences. So we actually have, you can do 3 months on a neighboring island in your first year. In your second year, you can do 5 months in your third year. And then you guys probably know, but fourth year is a great time of medical school. You kind of design your own curriculum. It's super. You can do whatever, you can pursue your interests and figure out your specialty during fourth year. So you can definitely do rural experiences. We just had 3 students go to Ponape for a month. It's in the Pacific, and really enjoyed it. They're fourth years now. One went to Palau as a first year and said, hey, I want to do some more of that. So this is our mission. I really like the way they wrote it. It's not super community based, but it kind of is. Of course, we want to train high quality physicians, scientists, allied health workers, but we also want to improve the health equity in Hawaii, and not just Hawaii, but the whole Pacific. And it focuses on educating diverse healthcare leaders. We want leaders, and then the research into clinical practice. And then Aloha is kind of the tagline, attaining lasting optimal health for all. So it's all encompassing, but it doesn't actually say community, but it's very community based, because we don't have our own hospital. We have to partner with everybody. So I'll talk about that in a second. Let's see here. Okay, so that now let's talk about you. You get to figure out your own mission, and then when you're interviewing at a medical school, you're not just trying to impress them, they're trying to impress you because it's a match. It's not like, I mean, okay, so the medical school does have a position of authority because they are, there's more applicants than there are places. But at the same time, don't think about it like, ooh, I've got to impress them, because if they're not right for you, you don't want to impress them. You are matching with them as much as they are matching with you. So you want to know what their mission is, and you want to see how it aligns with your mission. So you got to think, what really is your mission? Where do you want to be in 20 years? What do you want to be doing? And this is the Homeless Outreach and Medical Education Mobile Clinic. And the reason I mention this is because it started about 14 years ago. A couple faculty went and got training in San Diego, and came back and started it. And now it's actually got pre-med volunteers, medical students in all years of training. And actually, you have to have an experience there at some point. It's got nursing students, social work students. It's really grown. And every day of the week, there is a different location where they go to. Right now, it's only on the main island of Oahu, but I'm hoping it stretches out through the rest of the state as well. And so that's something that people really relate to and associate with the school, and it helps them get in. They volunteer, and a lot of them are now doctors. I talked about the neighbor islands rotations. We also want more students from neighbor islands, so we actually want to have cohorts do a lot of their training, their problem-based learning training on the neighboring islands and not have to be on Oahu all the time. So if your home is Big Island of Hawaii or Molokai, let's say, could you do some months training there, a lot of months training there? Hopefully, yes, that's our goal. And I'll tell you, that serves a couple purposes. I'll tell you a secret. We cannot expand our medical school class with just the sites on Oahu, the main island. We need more medical sites. We need more diverse experiences. And so it serves the purpose of, serves a lot of purposes, but we want students from neighboring islands to go into medicine. So we want to choose them there. We want more training sites, so that means neighboring island sites. And then we want to get urban students out into rural areas. So it's very practical, but also it's a really nice thing. And we actually have special scholarships for students that commit to these rural areas after school, full ride scholarships. So that's nice. Wilderness medicine. This is not one of our things. I just put it there because you want to think about the school you're going to. Some are really good at wilderness medicine. It's not our thing unless you call jellyfish stings and stuff wilderness medicine. But rural medicine, now that's our thing. And then urban underserved, we have a lot of students that work in urban underserved clinics. And then our area of research is more tropical infectious diseases, Native Hawaiian health, because that's what we have here. And so when you're looking at schools, look at all these different things about the schools. Now, partnerships. You're going to partner with the same groups your school partners with, right? Well, we partner with everybody. So you kind of want to look and see, are there different hospital groups that don't talk and I won't get to go there? Here you go everywhere because like I said briefly, we don't have a hospital. We don't have a county hospital. We don't have a medical school hospital. We go to all the hospitals and all the outpatient clinics and all the health centers and anywhere we can go. We go Department of Health. We work at the Native Hawaiian healthcare sites, even out through the Pacific with the Pacific. So Pacific Island Health Officer Association. And then PIPCA is Pacific Island Primary Care Association. And HPCA is Hawaii Primary Care Association. And then we have international partnerships. And that's something you might want to look at too, because if you want to do rotations, say in Africa or in the Caribbean, or like I went to Costa Rica, if you want to do those things, see who the partners are for your school, because that is the options you will have available to you. All right, just checking the chat there. So, build experiences that align with community care. So you can ask things like, what volunteer experiences do medical students often do? And like here, they do the Komen run, they do a lot of local volunteer experiences. But then even more important, what community-based activities does the medical school offer and where in the curriculum? Is it just in fourth year? Is it just in first year? Or can you do it throughout? And then here's the kicker. Where can I do my clinical rotations? Are they all in hospitals? Because most likely you won't be practicing in a hospital. You'll be practicing in a community. Are they in federally qualified health centers? Cool, I'll get to experience that. Are they in rural areas? Are they international? What is available to me is what you want to know. So, how how to think about your mission fit? Okay, so first thing you do have to think about is your mission. Now, I think I missed a slide because I bet if I asked you what your mission was, you would say to help people. Am I right? But that's not enough. I want to hear where you want to help people, how you want to help people, when you want to help people. Do you want to help people in underserved communities at the end of their lives? Do you want to deliver babies? Do you want to go out into rural areas and help there? I want to hear more about your particular mission when I interview you. So then, when you have that in mind, you can say, my mission is to serve people who don't have access to medical care as much as possible. Am I able to do that here? And see what they say. Do you offer experiences with disadvantaged communities or the whatever community is that you see yourself working in, you want to practice in medical school and residency? This is an interesting one because I always ask people I interview, what do you think cultural competency is? And um, I don't think it's something that you can just learn. It's not like you read it in a book and that's what it is. It's something you have to try and learn. You have to listen. You have to ask. You have to try and understand. You have to walk in someone else's shoes. And I would say that every person actually has a different culture. And so you have to do this with each patient. And you can ask them, what does this mean to you? What are you looking for? What do you think? What should we do? And in that way, then you can maybe get to the beginning of it. And then as they open up and trust you, you will find they will tell you things they don't tell anybody else. And it is the greatest honor to be trusted like that. Um, so anyway, my point here was cultural humility is the ability, the interest in listening to somebody else, what they think, what they want, what they need, what they're thinking is so important. And asking someone how you teach it uh, is sometimes enlightening. I'll just leave it there. You might want to be a patient educator. We all need to be patient educators, but what opportunities do you have to do that? Actually, every patient is an opportunity, but do they emphasize it? And then, does your school have a department of, and this is whatever you're looking for. In our case, we have a Department of Native Hawaiian Health. So those are things to ask. And I'm actually kind of prepping you for your interview because you always have to have questions when you go in. You have to have a few things that you want them to know about you to make sure you get across, but you also want to have questions for them. Okay, so mentorship. You guys are all mentors already, and I love that. Um, when you think of who you want to mentor you, think about where you want to be in 20 years. If there's someone that is doing what you see yourself doing, you found your mentor. You just have to ask. If you, and I never really found that, but I told you I was young, I raced through. I ended up in family medicine because I wanted to do more than just deliver the babies. I wanted to take care of the babies and their parents. So that was very exciting for me. And I did have a mentor in family medicine, but I think we all need at least 3 mentors. So you need someone in your life who's kind of watching out for you and saying, you should take it easy. You should get some rest. You should de-stress, let's go play soccer. Then you need someone in your career that says, well, I think you should go for promotion now. Or is this really the right job for you? You seem kind of unhappy. And then you need someone in your field to bounce ideas off of and stuff. And by the way, these people will write you letters for the rest of your life. And I know that because I'm doing that now for everybody I mentor. So, and then don't forget to mentor others because it really helps you. And I think this group's great because you are mentoring. And that's how we keep things going. Okay. Will the school impact you? Yes, the school you go to will impact who you become. If it's research intensive, you'll do research. If it's got a high rate of putting people in primary care, you'll probably go into primary care. If it's got lots of community work, you will do community work. And then if it's got student-run activities, you will be able to start activities. And I say this because Teen Health Camp and I don't actually remember what JHEM stands for, but these are both programs started by students when they were in med school. One was 20 years ago, and AHEC still maintains them at University of Hawaii. So Teen Health Camp is a day-long activity for students, and we do it on all the different islands. They do casting, they do suturing, they learn about different health professions. JHEM is a program for first-year students, go into schools and talk to the students there, and they pick 6 schools and they mentor them throughout the year. And that was started by a student here, and we've maintained it for, I don't know, 12 years, and it's going strong. So it's nice when student-run activities are allowed. And then the impact of your work. What do you want it to be? So what do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to make that impact? Don't worry about it. Keep at it. Remember this dream that you have now, because there'll be hard times. And you want to remember the dream so you can touch back on it and get that inspiration again. It will change. Like I said, when I was going into medical school, I wanted to be an OB. Well, I did that for 15 years. And then I realized I wanted to do more than one-on-one. One-on-one care is great because when someone says you've really helped me, it feels so good. But then I realized I wanted to make a bigger impact and make population-based changes. So I actually went back and got my PhD. And now I have a bunch of programs doing loan repayment, incentives, tuition support, career awareness activities, all kinds of stuff to build up our workforce here and keep people happy in the workforce and advertise our opportunities and things like that. So I never would have dreamed of this for myself, but it seems to fit. I never would have thought to be a grant writer, but I write a lot of grants to get resources for our state. So things will come your way, and your ideas will change and you will grow. Keep your mind open to them because things will come along and blindside you sometime, and you'll be like, "What? Oh, okay." So don't close your mind off to them because they might be really wonderful opportunities. And in healthcare, you can go all kinds of directions. And then, please, for wellness sake, keep your friends close, keep your family close, and keep your favorite activities because they will serve you well when you're stressed out, when you have free time, but keep those close to you. Don't lose touch with friends, family, or activities. All right. I added a couple things because I could give a whole hour talk on this, but I don't like the word failure because it seems so absolute. But I will tell you something. I would say it's a secret, but I've told it to a lot of people because they're on their quest through medical school. I failed human physiology when I was a first-year medical student. Now, who wants a doctor who failed human physiology? I thought that was it for me. And it was an experience. Yeah, anyway, I retook the test. I studied all summer. I retook the test. I stayed on track, but it made me realize a lot about myself. You know, why did that happen? What am I going to do about it? How am I going to study better? How am I going to pay more attention to what's going on in school and stuff like that? So failure is actually a chance to learn about yourself. It makes you resilient, and it makes you a very good medical school applicant. Now, I was already in medical school, but we don't want people who have never faced a challenge. If you have never faced a challenge and overcome it, then um, we don't know if you can. So it's actually really good to embrace that failure and say, I learned from it. This is what happened. This is what I did. It makes you a better applicant because you've recovered from adversity. So here are some famous failures. They thought Albert Einstein was retarded because he didn't speak. Michael Jordan was kicked off his high school basketball team. Walt Disney was told he's not creative or imaginative. Steve Jobs was started a company and then was fired from it. Oprah was told she wasn't a fit for television, and the Beatles didn't get their first recording label. They rejected them. So, you know, failure is something to learn from. And then my last message to you is that you have superpowers you don't even know about. I have talked to people who are bilingual and they feel like that is a weakness. And I am telling you that is a super strength. It is a superpower because you can communicate with people that others can't. I had to learn to speak Spanish in medical school to communicate better. But people who speak it as their first language, it makes patients feel like they're coming home and are so comfortable. And it is a true strength that people might not recognize. If you've experienced a personal or family lack of health care, that gives you insights that other people don't have, and it is a strength. If you have suffered a personal or family illness, you know things other people don't know. I had a mentee once who is now a excellent doctor, but she got into medical school and then she dropped out because she was depressed. And she didn't tell me, she didn't tell anyone, she just dropped out. And she said, "Do you think I can apply again? I've overcome it. I'm taking medicine." I said, "You have an amazing strength. You know what it is to be depressed. You can talk to somebody and say, 'I know how you feel.'" Not that you didn't say it like that, but use this as a strength. And she got back in and she is very happy now, practicing as a physician. I know a lot of people have responsibilities to their family business, and those can interfere with maybe their studying, but they show maturity, leadership, and responsibility. So they are actually superpowers. So, as far as getting into medical school, use these superpowers. Admit your failures and what you learned from them because they make you a better doctor and a better person. And they make you the kind of person we want in medical school because it's not about the grades. That was 1 out of 5 things, right? Um, it's about you and who you are and your superpowers and what your mission is. I think that's it. So we can do questions.
Okay, let me get to the first question here. Hmm. Could everyone that has questions please put them in the Q&A section below?
I can start off with like a question that I have. Dr. Whitby, what do you offer any programs like other like combined programs besides an MD at your school?
Now, that's an excellent question. We tried to start an MD PhD program, but our class is so tight-knit that the PhD students didn't want to leave their classmates when third year came along. So we have we have other programs like speech therapy, audiology, we have cell and molecular biology, but they're not combined programs. Some students have done their what have they done? They've done a public health degree, but not always during medical school. They might have started it before and finished it during medical school. So the short answer is no. Not for want of trying, though. But I just think that's so cute. They were so close knit, they wouldn't leave. They had to go together to their third year. So
I have a question. So, um, Hawaii obviously is an island, but there's a lot of health disparities, even though with tourism and a lot of the funds coming in. How is that such a small area? Like usually we think about health disparities as people get lost in the wilderness or just, but like Hawaii, like each island is very you're just constricted to that area, but you still have a lot of like the social determinants that are very prevalent there. And why is that? Like is it because of, income inequality, or is it because historically?
Both. Yes. Um, Well, for one thing, tourism is our economy, basically. It used to be tourism, agricultural, and military, but agricultural is expensive now. So basically, it's tourism and military, depending on the tide, the times. Um, but I think our tourism is kind of localized. I kind of think of it as its own island of Waikiki because they seem to all go there. But in answer to your question, so the Native Hawaiian people were very, very healthy when the settlers came. They brought sexually transmitted infections, they brought mumps. They killed off 80% of the native population that had a very an excellent healthcare system, communication system, religion, everything that was then suppressed. Language, suppressed because it wasn't what the missionaries thought was proper. So then the entrepreneurs, I guess you would call it, uh, came in and took the best lands in collaboration. At this point, the monarchy was collaborating because, there were good ideas out there and stuff. But then the state was actually illegally annexed because the queen was put under house arrest. And, it's just, it is another story of tragic, um, basically usurping of power. And so,
Colonization, yeah.
yeah, you got it. It's another colonization story that really has left generations of scars. And so the entrepreneurs came in, whether they were American, Japanese, from wherever, and moved people into areas that were not as lush, were more dry. And these areas exist today as lower income, higher violence, some are healthy food deserts, just really has been maintained. And then there is a lack of care. So a lot of people don't get the care they need, whether they don't trust. I mentioned trust, it's a beautiful thing with a physician, or there's just nowhere to go for them to get health care. So cancers are higher in the indigenous population. They're found later. We have, interestingly, when a lot of Asian cultures came over here, they all have different health um, well, I don't know if that's say weaknesses, but Japanese are very healthy until they eat the American diet. Filipinas are very healthy except blood pressure, diabetes. American Samoans have higher obesity and diabetes rates. So when you look at us average, we look very healthy. We're the health state. But when you break it down, by regions and peoples, we have significant disparities. And so finally, we're researching that and looking at it and trying to address it from a community standpoint.
Yeah, because Hawaii has what, like 96% universal care. Like
Yep.
people, it's like one of the most insured, as it's like near universal health
But you can
coverage.
have insurance and nowhere to use it. That's the problem.
So
Or you
like,
don't trust to use it.
right, well, but
Yeah.
the thing is, I know, like I'm in California, and so now it's like if you're outside of, I live in the Bay Area, so if you're in the Bay Area, you're fine, but like if you go a little bit out, like you can't find doctors, you can't find specialists. So even with that, like with Hawaii, is there a lack of access, like shortages, or
Yes.
is it this? Well, the distance is not that. I mean,
Well, it's big on the Big Island. So the Big Island's very big and they have transportation problems and even dirt roads where USPS does not deliver, which I didn't even realize happened because I grew up in the Bay Area and there were no place Postal Service didn't go. There are places they just don't go. So there is the
really,
rural.
wow, that's
Yeah, I know, right?
because I thought they were mandated by law that they have to.
No,
Wow,
if it's a dirt road and there's no zip code, like it's kind of off the map. I was shocked. So these people have to go into the post office, and a lot of them only have post office boxes, and Amazon doesn't like post office boxes, right? So, and then they can't do that, but they can't get their medicines because you can't send a narcotic to a post office box. And if you can't get it there, so transportation problems do abound here. But there's also, so Molokai is an island of 6,000 people. They have a critical access hospital and they do deliver babies there, which some islands don't do. But if you have a stroke, how are you going to get to a hospital with stroke care?
and they don't
Like,
have air med, do they?
nope. We
Which,
crashed one of our AirMed helicopters and that was it for a while.
yeah, that's one of the things I was really surprised that there's no air med, and
Yeah.
there's air med in Cleveland, like place that's
Yep. I know
knowing and
it's scary. And hopefully they have they have money now. They're trying to develop something, but it's not developed
because
yet.
you guys
So
had a governor who was an ER doctor too, so.
yeah, we still do.
Yeah,
It's
he's
great.
still
Yeah.
yeah. No, because I'm like one of the things I was read, but I also know like you can't fly between the islands because of the monopoly the airlines have. So I know like that's an issue.
Yeah. We
In
used to have
turn,
a super ferry, but that didn't work out. Uh,
really,
yeah, that was great, but still, it's hard if you need urgent care, it's hard to get there. So some people on Molokai say, I was born here, I'll die here. That's it. But we're
hmm.
trying to get some kind of air ambulance back. Yeah, so it is very rural, except on Oahu. I did see the question about my PhD. Thanks for asking. So my PhD is in biomedical sciences and clinical research. And it is, what do I do with it? Let's see. What was the question exactly? Let me go back to the question again. So I got it after being a doctor for 20 years. And so the question is, can you expand more on why you wanted to do a PhD and how it impacted your practice? What was the PhD on? And it completely changed my practice. I don't practice anymore. I don't see patients one-on-one. Instead, I'm doing big statewide programs, regional programs even. So the things I do, I offer to help anybody who wants to go into a health career in Hawaii or the Pacific, any way we can. So my office provides mentoring, tutoring, help essay writing, interview skills, MCAT prep, whatever it is that people need. In fact, we're even doing free tuition programs now so that people can get into healthcare. And this rural health transformation money is going to help us. We're going to have $20 million for scholarships. Oh, I'm not supposed to call them scholarships. I'm supposed to call them educational awards per Medicare, but okay, I'll call them whatever they want. Um, so we're going to have that much. Anybody who commits to 5 years working in rural Hawaii gets their tuition and fees paid. So we're really hoping to ramp up training. So then, and this follows the AHEC grant, Area Health Education Center. When they're in training, we want them to work in interprofessional teams in rural areas. And so we have them go to places like Pohnpei and Palau and Guam and Majuro. Um, and then when they get out, we want them to work in areas of need. So we have a new recruiting platform and we have to recruit people from the continent too. So docjobshawaii.org, I just started and it's a recruitment platform to come to get to jobs in Hawaii. And so I actually go across the country and speak to groups, but go to conferences and have a exhibitor booth and try and recruit people to Hawaii. And then loan repayment, we've given out over 1,000 loan repayment contracts. Um, and then I do the physician workforce assessment. So this is my main area of research is how many doctors do we have? How many do we need? Where do we need them? What is going wrong that we don't have them? How is the payment system not working for us? What would work better? We're trying to start a statewide ACO, Accountable Care Organization, with payment transformation. So, what can I do to help all healthcare providers be happier? Is a really interesting question. And I'm not doing like bench research, but I'm doing human research. I'm asking people, I do focus groups and I say, what would help you be happier in your career here? What can we do? And actually, part of this rural health the most exciting part, other than the tuition and the incentives we're going to give to people who commit to 5 years working in rural Hawaii, but the most researchy part is we're going to have healthcare workers, clinicians, and patients meet together and brainstorm ways for their community to be healthier. Because I believe if those clinicians are engaged with the community and feel a part of the community and are making changes with the patients, they're going to be happier. The patients are going to trust them more. And I think it's going to help retain physicians longer. And that's a goal of mine. So it's not your traditional research route. It's unusual, but I really enjoy all kinds of things that I'm doing. And I get to have new ideas and just put them into action. And my staff always says, no more ideas, but I can't help it.
Thank you. I do have a question. I was wondering if, in terms of like all the departments and the curriculums, is there an integration between like Native Hawaiian health practices as well as the values? And if so, how are you able to, I guess, facilitate that and as well as coexist with Western values?
Well, I'm actually a big believer in integrative medicine. So I actually give a talk to all the medical students on integrative medicine. And I have a slide where I say, okay, everybody stand up and sit down if you've ever done this, right? And then there's yogurt and there's deep breathing. And finally, everybody admits they've done something non-Western medicine, right? Um, and so traditional Native Hawaiian medicine is very interesting because the practitioner chooses you. And I have not been chosen yet, and I keep wanting to be chosen, right? But there's so many things that are so beautiful. Lomi Lomi massage, it's mainstream, but it's traditional. Ho'oponopono is a kind of conflict resolution that is very effective and can be incorporated into anything. So there's a fine line between usurping it, of course, but I would say more there's respect for it. So I try and get the students to think broad, keep an open mind, and when a patient comes in and trusts you enough to say, I'm trying this, what do you think? You work with them. It's part of their total care. And I think it's beautiful. And I think it can help everybody. And so as long as we all listen for that and don't poo-poo, I used to think, oh, when somebody came in with some herbs, oh, you know, but no, you have to take it seriously because they might be really working. They might interact with something. You need to be trusted enough to be able to look at the person's whole life and help them as a team member. So I think it's a beautiful practice. I don't know that much about it, but as long as we can work all together, I think whatever helps our patients and ourselves, because I've tried a lot of these things and, some of them I used to think were crazy and they work. Let's see. What are your thoughts on doing a master's program internationally? Could it still help chances of getting into a US med school? Ooh, I love that idea, especially if it's something you're passionate about and you want to learn more about it. And while you're there, you're going to learn skills, language skills, understanding. I mean, all our healthcare systems are so different. If you did an international master's, you could actually be helping to redesign the American healthcare system. So I tell people, even though I raced through everything, I mean, I just raced into medical school. And I have to tell you, when I was in medical school at San Diego, they had an MD PhD program. And I said to my classmates who were getting their PhD in 2 years, which is super fast for PhD, I said, why would you want to wait one more day before taking care of patients? Because that's what I wanted to do, right? And the laugh's on me because now I have my PhD and now I understand. But I was really young then. So life is long. If you have an opportunity to do a master's in something you're very interested about internationally, I think it can only help you. It can help you develop skills, it can help you mature, it can help you be a better doctor, and it can help you be a better applicant even because you're super interesting.
I had a question about like kind of going back to your you talking about like how students like finance med school. So is that free tuition program currently being offered, or is it still kind of like in the pilot stage?
Well, okay, so the first one was for the island of Kauai. Um, it's called the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. And so Zuckerberg moved to Kauai and he upset everybody because he tried to cut off their land and their water and everything. Anyway, he learned that he had to give back and, fit in. So anyway, he helped us start a program where 6 people a year. Now we only have a class size of 77. It's pretty small. We're trying to get up to 85, but 6 people a year got full ride and they did 1 3-month period in their first year, one in their second year, 6 months in their third year, and then they come in on Kauai, and then they commit to 4 years practicing there after residency. And it's worked out really well. And we'd like to do it for all the other islands. Now, with this rural health money, we will have money for scholarships for anybody who commits to working 5 years in rural Hawaii. And rural Hawaii is all the neighboring islands, plus the North Shore, the northern half of Oahu. I'll just put it that way. And so that's really exciting. So yes, it exists now, and for at least 5 years, there will be free tuition to anyone who commits to working in rural Hawaii for 5 years. So very exciting. And other states may have that too. I'm not sure how they're using their rural health money, but every state has rural health money. Any other questions?
So you said you grew up in the Bay Area and went to school in Davis. What took you to Hawaii?
How did I get to Hawaii? Well, I grew up in Berkeley and did training in San Diego, Long Beach, and I met my husband in residency, internship actually. And I do recommend medical couples. I like it because we're able to kind of debrief, we're able to kind of share our frustrations with each other and we understand each other. And we were able to job share for the first 5 years of our kids' lives, which was amazing. If you can job share and be there for the kids, because our oldest didn't like preschool, so we had to figure out something to do. But anyway, he grew up in Michigan. He went to medical school in Kansas City, and he always wanted to live in Hawaii. And my family, my three half siblings, my dad and stepmom had just moved to Hawaii. They took a year sabbatical and loved it, and so moved over here. And there are lots of jobs. And so we said, hey, let's try it. And we're still here 30 years later. So yeah, medicine gives you a lot of flexibility to go where you want. We've been able to travel across the Pacific, working with people, and we do like to travel. So yeah. Anyway,
What does your partner? What kind of physician is your partner?
he's a family physician too. When I met him, he was going to be an anesthesiologist, and then I didn't influence him, but he decided to go into family medicine also. But funny thing, he likes sports med and geriatrics, and I like OB and peds. So we were a nice pair because we were in practice together for a little while, and then we worked at the residency for a long time. Now he's at the VA and I'm at the university.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The other question I was gonna have is, if you could change one thing about healthcare delivery,
Oh
what would
boy.
it be and why?
Just one? Just one? I only get one?
Hey, I work as a right. I mean, I work as an ER tech, so I have
Mm.
a list, but I could just pick one and I'll be happy.
You know
What do you
what?
think?
I would get rid of all the middle people. I would get rid of the pharmacy managers. I would actually get rid of the insurance companies, give everybody Medicare, because I think, our costs are going up and up and up, and it's not the doctors overcharging. It's not the patients wanting too much. You
Private
know,
equity buying hospitals and
this
practices.
is
Yeah.
so wrong. I think education and healthcare should be outside of capitalism because it ruins them. So anyway, yeah, I would just get rid of all the middle people.
Well, let's let's whip out our magic wands.
Yeah, but they have too much control. They have all the money. They've got all the lobbyists.
Oh
It's
yeah,
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
yeah. The hospital that I work at, they're talking about targeted layoffs,
Oh my
which
gosh.
is my like least. I'm like, who are you targeting? Like,
Yeah.
what is this, like a drone strike? Like, what are you gonna do? Like,
Target the administration. How about
I'm
that?
like, and then when they laid off 300 people, and it's a health system very close to where you grew up. That's where I
Yeah.
work at. They laid off 300 people. Some of them they didn't fill in, and laid off of people, and then didn't fill positions that were needed. But then the hospital CEO got a 27% raise.
Of course. Yeah.
We're like, I thought you guys were like in financial distress, but the
And
CEO
that
gets,
27% probably could have funded all those people. It's
yep,
amazing.
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, if anybody else doesn't have any questions, because we can sit here and gripe. So, um,
We could for a long time.
thank you
I have
But
again
another
for.
question.
Oh,
we have
go ahead.
uh, we have to try and find solutions. That's our goal.
Another question I have is like, what are the top residencies that your med students match to? I know you mentioned like you're very like kind of like primary care focused. Are there other top residencies that your med students match to?
I believe, well, it kind of changes every year. But definitely we have a lot of family medicine spots in Hawaii because we're standing up new residencies. We now have an internal medicine primary care track, and we're hoping to have an internal medicine residency on Maui. But they go into all kinds of things. We have a surgery residency here in ortho, um, but a lot of people go away to um, radiology, derm, a lot of subspecialties you have to go way to, but we're going to actually start um, an oncology fellowship. We have now a cardiology fellowship, GI fellowship, and we're going to start rheumatology. No, I think we're going to start endo. Anyway, I didn't answer your question very well because it's different every year. But it's all over the place and yeah, it changes. But I think the more we have here, the more it kind of influences people because they see those doctors more.
Yeah, and there was like a study that said like a great, like a really big percentage of people end up practicing where they did their training.
Yes, we know if you go to medical school and residency here, 80 to 85% stay here. That's why I always tell people, oh, go away to college, go away, go on, go away. Then come back to medical school and residency because we want to keep you.
Well, Anyways, if you don't have any questions, we're gonna let our speaker go. Thank you again for making time, and I know you were traveling distances and distances.
Oh boy. Yeah, my email is on the slides that I sent. And
Yeah, we'll
so,
post the slide.
okay, cool. All right. Thanks, guys. And I
Thank you
look
very much.
forward to seeing you as doctors in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thank you so much.